Welcome everybody, welcome to Indy Road Course. We're here for the GTE League at Motive Racing round 7 of the season. Got 10 regulars and a couple of extras in tonight as reserves. We've got Bruce Law currently filling in as a reserve tonight on provisional pole position here in this session. Only man in the 121s at the moment. The fastest lap that we've seen over the course of this week in our hot lap time trials is by Richie, I believe, on a 121.7. I think it's a little bit quicker than what Bruce Law's done here. Let me just double check actually. The fastest time set by Richie over the course of this week was a 121.766. So Bruce Law only 14 thousandths of a second off of that fastest time that we've seen from Richie over the course of this week. Richie currently in second at the moment in this session. Doyce Monks in third as Bruce Law does improve his time by about 2 thousandths of a second, I think it was, after that lap. So very tight improvement there from Bruce Law in the Porsche. Richie's coming in towards the final chicane. Let's see what Richie can put on the board here. 3 minutes to go in this qualifying session. So Bruce Law from Richie, from Doyce Monks, from Smoky Devil, from the Mutts Nuts. Sebas looks like he's picked up a one place grid penalty. I'm not sure what that's for. I assume it's for cutting the pit exit line or something along those lines. But yeah, he's currently sat in P6. You've got Zande in 7th. Beam Basher in the pits at the moment, so he's not going to improve from there.
No track with all, this is shite.
Say again, mate.
This tyre then is fucking shit.
Yeah, it's the end of October.
It's shite, proper.
Put softs on. Softs will work. Softs are fine round here. Just put the softs on. They'll warm up in no time. Trust me. Softs work alright around here. Nah, put the softs on. They'll be alright. Because they won't wear out. At this temperature, they won't wear out. We got currently after rubbish there in 9th in this session. He's jumped in pretty recently. Enigma, a late reserve tonight in P10. We've got CMCF1, late sign up over the course of this week. He's a regular driver here from now on. He raced in the LMP2s last night. He's here for the GTEs tonight. DJ Phil currently yet to set a lap here, joined the session a few moments ago, just got in the nick of time. So 12 drivers out on track at the moment. Bruce Law still heads the field. Richie in the pits, looks like he's done for the session. So it's really Bruce Law leading the session right now, and Doyce Monks in third. Might be able to upset that balance at the top of the leaderboard, but we'll have to see whether Doyce Monks has got any more in his locker here as he's coming in towards the final part of the lap. He'll get one more lap in after this one, so his session isn't done and dusted just yet, but I'm sure he'll be wanting to take the pressure off himself a little bit, maybe get himself on the front row alongside Richie if he can. Here comes Doyce Monks now, see if he can nail these last couple of corners. Looks pretty good there out of the penultimate corner. Here we go, flat out around this banking. The left rear tyres do take a bit of a pounding around this corner, but up towards the line. What is the time going to be for Doyce Monks? He doesn't improve, stays in P3. Smoky Devil in the pits. The Mutts Nuts is currently out there at the moment. Sebas is also in the pits. Everybody else, barring myself and the ones just mentioned there, are out on the track. So Zande, Beam Basher, Utter Rubbish comes up towards the line. What can he do? He stays in P9 for the time being. Enigma running in P10. What can he put on the board here, as he's got just a couple of corners to go, a left and a right, and then over the line to complete the lap. Here comes Enigma out of the final corner and out onto the start finish now. What can he put on the board in that Ferrari? Up towards the line he comes, foot flat to the boards here as he crosses the line, and he stays in P10. No improvement there from him. We've got Ford going under the line in the background there. Doesn't look like they were able to improve. Has any more times come in? I don't think so. That was Beam Basher there, just starting another lap here. He will get one lap in. Will the one of our championship contenders here, Beam Basher, I believe him and Richie must be quite close in the standings now. I know that those two have been always up there in most of the races. Beam Basher missed the last 2 rounds, so he's got work to do here, but I know that before those last 2 rounds he did have quite a big lead in the championship, so we'll have to keep an eye on this. Obviously the championship standings not actually published on the Discord at the moment, so I've got a file on my computer which has these championship standings, and I believe it's pretty close between Beam Basher and Richie, but he's got half a lap left to go here in this qualifying session to try and upset the top of that leaderboard, which currently is headed by Bruce Law. The Mutts Nuts is done for the session. He's done a time good enough for P5. Zande coming through the final few corners. He's just ahead of Beam Basher on the track, I think. No, he's just behind him, excuse me. We've got Utter Rubbish coming in towards the final part of the lap now, up towards the line. What can he do? Can he move up from P9? He does improve his time, but doesn't move up the order. DJ Phil is done for the session. It's all on these two now. Beam Basher, but KRB Arzande just behind him on the track. What can Beam Basher do? Out of the last corner he comes. Can Beam Basher get himself in the top 5, maybe even on the front 2 rows, possibly on pole position, who knows? Up towards the line he comes, and he goes P5 with that lap, just over a second off for the fastest time. But I know for a fact that Beam Basher will improve over the course of the race as he gets acclimatised to those soft tyres. So it is Bruce Law lining up on pole for, I think, his first race at Motive, I believe, unless I'm very much mistaken. I believe it's his first race. Well, in this GTEs, but yeah, Richie on the front row alongside him with Doyce Monks, Smoky Devil, Beam Basher, the Mutts Nuts, then Sebas Dande, Utter Rubbish, Enigma, and CMCF1 and DJ Phil rounding out the field. It's the first time that I've done a commentary and game chat in ages. Kind of miss it. I will have to quickly run downstairs in about 1 minute, about 5 minutes or so for 1 minute, and but for the time being we're moments away from the start of the race here. 4 round 7 of the GTEs. One of the cars in the background there appears to be jumping around a bit. Hopefully that sorts itself out before we go lights out. It looks to be a BMW there that's just lagging around, but 12 cars before the lights here at Indianapolis Motor Speedway on the road course, and it is lights out and away we go. So that BMW has not moved. That is CMC there, who's not got off the line, but Bruce Law leads up towards the first corner. He's just reversing into place now, hopefully getting going. But in the background, Richie's trying to look to the outside of Bruce Law. Bruce Law covers that inside line, and the Corvette's gone late on the brakes there up the inside. Oh my goodness me, Zande missing his braking point completely, and drops down through the field there. But Smoky Devil in third place, just behind the 2 leaders, Bruce Law and Richie. The Mutts Nuts in fifth with Doyce Monks. There is Sebas there looking to the inside of Doyce Monks, but he tags the back of him. Oh no, and Doyce Monks gets tagged round there by Sebas. Sebas there was very aggressive and made his move up the inside, and he's cuts the inside of the S's there as Beam Bash is looking to the outside of him. The Mutts Nuts there is running in third place as we see Smoky Devil dropping down the field like a stone down to 9th place here in this race. Where's Doyce Monks? He's got it going again in P11 in this race. He's a little way off for the leaders here. He's 12 seconds off for the lead, so that's gone horribly wrong there for Doyce Monks. Sebas there on the team radio apologising to Doyce Monks, but it's done now, unfortunately for him. Bruce Law leads by 7/10 of a second ahead of Richie, with the Mutts Nuts in third. Beam Basher there in fourth as we see Sebas really wide there onto the grass. He's lagging a little bit there as we've got Utter Rubbish there in 6th place. Enigma all over the back of him, battling over 6th place. DJ Phil there in 8th with KLBR Zande. There's Smoky Devil, Doyce Monks and the CMCF1 after that very sketchy start at the back in P13 in this race. Bruce Law though leads the field by half second ahead of Richie coming towards the end of the first lap. The Mutts Nuts has got Beam Basher all over him as we ride on board with the bonnet camera of Beam Basher as he's looking to the outside. He's going to try and use that side draft. Doesn't want to get too close though. Doesn't want to get too close for comfort. Down the start finish straight they come. Has he got this done? It looks like the Mutts Nuts is still there, still holding it on the inside, but Beam Basher much later on the brakes. Does he get it stopped? Bit of a lock up there on the right front, but he gets it stopped in time and is up into third place. He can now try and chase down these two out the front, Bruce Law and Richie. Richie's still trying to get on terms with Bruce Law at the moment. You've got Utter Rubbish there running in 6th place. He's just behind Sebas running in 5th. We've also got Enigma not too far for these guys as we see Sebas going a little bit wide there. Sorry, Utter Rubbish even going a little bit wide there. Going through that corner, bit on the grass there, cuts the inside of the S's. Now Enigma's going to have an opportunity coming down this little stretch, but I think he's a bit too far back to go for a move into the left-hander, which is kind of a bit of a tight left-hander, not quite a hairpin, but it's certainly a tight corner. But for the time being, Enigma tucks in behind Utter Rubbish in this race. Richie there, still on the back of Bruce Law. Beambasher still on the back of the Mutts Nuts. He's lost it out to him there, so Beambasher, having got the move done into turn 1 on this lap, has now lost out. The Mutts Nuts has got back ahead of him through that middle sector there. Zande is on the back of Enigma, but Enigma is very close to the back of Utter Rubbish. As we see also Smoky Devil just ahead of DJ Phil, and Doyce Monks now trying to bring himself onto this train of cars in 9th place, having had that collision with Sebas on the first lap, which has dropped him well out of the picture for now. Bruce Law though leading over the line to complete the second lap of the race ahead of Richie. These two kind of just leaving the rest of them for dead at the moment. You got Beambasher there trying to hold it on the inside of the Mutts Nuts. Rolls reversed here this time around. The Mutts Nuts is on the outside, Beambasher on the inside. Can Beambasher make his late braking to perfection once again on the inside? This time he'll have that preferred line into turn 1 and lock up once again from Beambasher. The Mutts Nuts is still there, still a little bit of that forward alongside as we see him slip back up the inside into turn 2. Great little dice between these two, and the Mutts Nuts back up into that podium spot with Sebas now just sitting on the back of these guys waiting in the wings if they trip over each other. Utter Rubbish, Enigma, as we see Utter Rubbish there. Oh, did he clip the grass a little bit there? He held it well if he did, as Enigma gets a little bit out of shape, and he's got Zande very close behind. Oh, Smoky Devil's lost it. Smoky Devil's spun it coming through the first sector, and he's just got the Doyce Monks there opposite side. DJ Phil following him through, and CMC's going to move up himself up into 11th place. Smoky Devil down to P12 in this race, as Bruce Law still leads by half a second ahead of Richie at the moment, and Beambasher still just behind the Mutts Nuts, still hasn't been able to clear him and make that move stick so far in this race. Enigma very close on the back of Zande at the moment. These two battling it out over 7th. They're a couple of seconds behind Utter Rubbish, who seems to have put a bit of a cushion between himself and these two. Bruce Law though still got that reasonable cushion back to Richie, and Richie getting it all wrong coming through that penultimate corner. That's given Bruce just a little bit of a moment to get himself together and pull out that gap to Richie. Richie's been pressurising him for his first couple of laps, but now Bruce has just got that bit of breathing space as the Mutts Nuts running in 3rd. Beambasher dropping off the back of Mutts Nuts on that last lap. Mutts Nuts 23-1, Beambasher 24-5. Beambasher did have a scruffy lap there, as he's a couple of seconds still ahead of Sebas at the moment. Sebas moving to the inside, taking a very strange line down that start-finish straight, but he's running in P5, so can't knock him. It's clearly working. Utter Rubbish though was a second quicker than Sebas on that previous lap. Zande 23-3 from him, only slower than the top 3 who were the Bruce Law, Richie and the Mutts Nuts. You got Enigma 26-3 from him, lost a couple of seconds to Zande on that last lap. Doyce Monks coming back through after that first lap collision with Sebas, 24 dead from him on that previous lap. You got Smoky Devil, had a very horror show lap on that last lap, 132 from him. DJ Phil 134. CMC not having the race so far at all in P12. Hopefully he'll come back stronger in the second race. But it's Bruce from Richie, 7/10 between the two of them here, coming in towards the final sector of the lap here on lap 4. And Richie's been sticking with Bruce Law for most of this, but just hasn't really been able to find a way through so far. It's been pretty cagey between these two. It's been nip and tuck, as I've just got to go my work keys downstairs. 1 second, ladies and gentlemen. As I'm back on once again, but here we are. We've got Bruce Law still leading the race ahead of Richie at the moment. These two pretty close together. Beam Basher there running in third place. He's got about a second. Sorry, he's in fourth. He's just about 2 seconds behind the Nuts at this point. Sebas there has got Utter Rubbish crawling all over the back of him here. These two, absolutely nothing separating them at the moment. But yeah, Utter Rubbish is looking to try and upset the balance. And Beam Basher's lost out. He's down to 6th place. Beam Basher here has got Zande all over the back of him. He's down in P6. He must have had a mistake there coming through the first sector. Oh, what a shame there for Beam Basher, as he's lost out enormously and now finds himself down in P6, as we said, 13 seconds off for the lead. Sebas here has got Utter Rubbish looking down his inside. Utter Rubbish been able to complete that move on him. I think he may have done, you know. Oh, as we see Sebas all over the grass, and oh no, Utter Rubbish I think maybe lost it by himself. I don't know if there was contact there between the two of them. Utter Rubbish has dropped off of Sebas there. It's down to P8 in this race as Doyce Monks is ahead of him, and oh my goodness, Enigma so nearly collected him there, but that's obviously a shame there for Utter Rubbish there, as he's down to P8 in this race. Bruce Law still leads ahead of Richie, half a second between these two coming over the line to complete the 6th lap of the race onto lap 7. Richie still hounding and hassling him here. These two have got a massive gap back to the Nuts now, who's running 8 seconds behind in the final podium spot. Sebas still running in 4th. Scott Beam Basher now trying to make amends. Beam Basher back up into P5 due to the mistake there from Utter Rubbish, as he's got Zande still on the back of him, but he's gapped Zande a little bit since that mistake on the previous lap. Beam Basher trying to get himself back up into P4 if he can. Damage limitation this one will certainly be for Beam Basher, as we're on lap 7 of 11 here for round 7 of the GTEs here on Project Cars 2 at Motive. Bruce Law still has the lead, but only by 3/10 to Richie at this point. Richie's really breathing down his neck and giving him some over the course of this race. It's great action here on the channel at the moment, and you just see there, they're both of them taking a very wide line coming through that corner, but it's working for them at the moment as they're continuing to get the Nuts. And as the Nuts made a mistake, I think he might have done, you know, he has. The Nuts is, oh, he's stationary, he hasn't moved. He hasn't moved, he's waiting for everybody to come by, and he finally gets it back on the track. He's dropped places though. Beam Basher's got ahead of him. Zande and Doyce Monks also following him. Beam Basher could be on, of course, for a podium despite the mistake that he had earlier on in this race. He could still be in for a P3 as he's on the back of Sebas, who's currently running in that P3. But Sebas, what a drive from him, running in 3rd place at the moment in this race. Got to give it to Sebas. I know he had the collision on the first lap there with, obviously he had the collision with Doyce Monks at the start, but since then he's just got on with it and he's done really well. Oh no, Beam Basher's lost it out of the final corner. Oh my goodness, he's lost out to Zande there. Beam Basher down to P5. Incredible developments here. Beam Basher looked like he was really putting the pressure on Sebas, but he just lost the car coming out the corner. I don't know whether he hit him in the back or what. Brakes a little bit late there as he gets the car stopped and avoids hitting Doyce Monks in the back. Beam Basher not happy with something over the team radio, trying to get himself back ahead of Doyce Monks up into 5th place, but Richie has got now a gap over Bruce because he's got ahead of him. So Bruce now running in P2, he's now 2 seconds behind Richie. So Bruce Law's lost out to Richie. He was leading the most of this race. Richie has been keeping it on him over the course of the entirety of this one, and now has a 2.2 second gap at the front. So Richie now in control of this race. Bruce Law's got to take it to him here as we're about to start lap 9. We've got 3 laps left to go here at Indy Road Course for round 7 of the GTEs. You've got Sebas running in 3rd place in the final podium spot. He's got a couple of seconds back to Zande, who in turn's got a couple of seconds back to Doyce Monks. Now Beam Basher trying to get himself back into the top 5 if he can. Smoky Devil running 10 seconds behind these guys. The Nuts has dropped off enormously over the last couple of laps. Mistakes coming into play have dropped him out of contention for a podium in this race. You've got DJ Phil in 9th. There's Enigma in P10 in that final top 10 spot there. You've got Utter Rubbish on the back of Enigma after his race has really gone to pot. Had such a strong start with Utter Rubbish. Looked like he could have been on course for a podium. To be fair, it looks as though everybody's had their fair share of incidents over the course of this race, as now you've got Enigma and Utter Rubbish both queuing up here behind DJ Phil. And look at this, we've got Enigma there going for the switchback and executes it beautifully there up the inside of both of them, but he's going to get past on the outside there by Utter Rubbish. Utter Rubbish and Enigma side by side. They both get ahead of DJ Phil, and Utter Rubbish there managing to get around both of them up into P9. Great little battle there, and Utter Rubbish pulling off one of the moves of the season up into 9th place. Great stuff there from him, as Beam Basher still on the back of Dois Monks in this fight for 5th place. Down the back straight they come once again, but he's a little bit too far back at the moment to get any moves done. Richie's pulled out the gap to Bruce Thor to over 2.5 seconds, so he looks like he's going to have this one under control, barring any major catastrophes. Sebas still running in that final podium spot, has got a couple of seconds back to Zande, who obviously is just in front of this battle between Beam Basher and Dois Monks. Riding on board with the bumper cam of Beam Basher right now, still trying to bring himself into contention in this battle if he can. But at the moment, no dice. He just always, Dois Monks goes deep, but so does Beam Basher. Both of them going really deep into that penultimate corner. Still no changes in the order at this point. You've got also the battle going on between the back fours. You've got Utter Rubbish just ahead of Enigma, CMC and DJ Phil. I see these guys in a 4-car train, although having said that, Utter Rubbish has gapped them a little bit. Enigma, since making that move, has obviously been passed by Utter Rubbish and has still got pressure from CMC and DJ Phil at this point. Beam Basher is still within a second of Dois Monks, but still hasn't been able to get it done. He goes very deep into turn 1. Oh, and he gets it sideways there. He's on course for some good points at the moment. It's Beam Basher flying high in the championship, but he'll lose points to Richie over this round, that is for sure. Sebas there running in 3rd place still in this race. He's got a couple of seconds back to Zande at the moment. Zande's still got about a second or so back to Dois Monks, and Beam Basher after that big moment they're running 2-3 seconds off of them in P6. There's Smokey Devil in the background of your picture just coming into the shot, and what's happened to Zande? Zande's gone off. Zande's had a moment. He's down to P6 now, as Dois Monks and Beam Basher get through. Zande was in contention for a podium there, which wasn't too far for Sebas, but he's had a big slide, and it ended up on the grass as a result. It lost about, I'd say about 5 seconds at least with that little moment there. As we see a big lock up from Beam Basher in the foreground there, but gets it stopped better than he did on the previous lap, and he's got about just over a second to Dois Monks at this point, so Beam Basher surely targeting top 4 here in this one. I'd say that maybe Sebas would be a little bit beyond him at this point, being in 3rd place 4 seconds ahead, but Beam Basher, can he have a go at Dois Monks on this final lap? Richie has got half a lap left to go though. Himself and Bruce Thor had a great little battle in the first part of the race. Richie kept him under the cosh and eventually must have forced Bruce Thor into a mistake. I don't know where, but he got ahead of him, and has since then has controlled the second part of this race. Richie's taken a number of wins in the GTE category so far. I'll get them championship standings updated as soon as possible, so I know exactly what the score is in terms of the championship. But Richie here has got a couple of corners left to go. He's got this braking zone which leads to a right and a left, and then that final right-hander which is a flat out onto the start-finish. Richie, 95, I think is going to be the championship leader after this. I don't know what the point standings are in relation to himself and Beam Basher, but out of the final corner Richie comes. It's going to be the victory here in the sprint race at Indianapolis. A great drive here in the Ferrari. Well done to Richie as he crosses the line to take the victory. 3 seconds clear of Bruce Thor in the Porsche, who put on a very solid performance in the first part of that race. Sebas comes over to take a podium. A decent job there from him. Well, he's not come over just yet. In fact, he's still going to get around these last couple of corners. He's got a couple of seconds back to Dois Monks. Has he got enough in the tank to get himself over the line? I think he is. Sebas comes over to take a brilliant podium, but there will probably be a steward's inquiry in relation to himself and Dois Monks. But nevertheless, we give points penalties here at Motive, not time penalties, so the podium remains his, but he may be getting a points deduction to boot. Dois Monks comes over in 4th, Beam Basher 5th, Zande in 6th place with Smokey Devil in 7th, as we now look to Utter Rubbish, who's coming in towards the final couple of corners, and he's got a reasonable gap back to Enigma. He should be able to bring this one round comfortably for 8th place. These two have gapped DJ Phil and CMC over the last couple of laps. The Mutts Nuts has had a capitulation, there's no other word for it, over the last couple of laps. I'm sure he'll be looking to fight back stronger in the feature race, but Utter Rubbish over the line to take P8. Enigma does a little wink for the cameras. His one headlight that's still in operation comes over 9th place. DJ Phil flashed the lights as always in the BMW in the final top 10 spot, with CMC in 11th, and the Mutts Nuts will come over to take 12th place. He'll be back in the next one, we know that for sure. We have not seen the best of the Mutts Nuts tonight, we know that 100% guaranteed. But that is your lot for the sprint race, guys. So we'll be back very shortly for the feature race qualifying session. 10 minutes followed by a slightly longer feature race with a mandatory pit stop. Stay tuned, don't go anywhere. Good job racing, guys. That was good. Non-stop action. I think the colder temperatures are really making it unpredictable. Alright, slightly longer race. 16 lap, mandatory stop. We'll jump straight in. 10-minute quali. Yeah, mate, it was a little bit of a sketchy move. I mean, the thing is, other than that, he was clean. It's just that first lap. But put in the steward inquiry and we'll take a look at it, because it looked stone wall to me. Like, no offence to you, Sebas, or anything.
No grip out there whatsoever.
I know, mate. Look, alright, next week we'll review.
Shy.
I know, mate.
Racing.
Well, mate, it's still worth racing. Come on. Like,
Fucking shit.
raise the tyre pressures up a little bit. Smithy, like, you're in the championship anyway. Like, you can still get good points. Like, you know, if you're in a shout of a podium, then you still got good points. Because I know you're going to be close with Richie. I need to get them standings out tonight, actually. Yeah, man, don't give up. Like, there's still every chance. I mean, you were quick.
inside the top three, but we can make that up in the race. Good effort.
Here we go then guys, here we go once again for the second race of the evening in terms of the GTEs here at Indy Road Course. 12 cars on the grid once again. Richie putting it on pole, doing a 1:21.6, the fastest lap that we've seen throughout the entire week leading up to this GTE round 7. Doyce Monks this time around joining him on the front row with the Mutts Nuts and Smoky Devil on the second row behind them. Bruce Law and Beam Basher in 5th and 6th places. Then you've got Utter Rubbish followed by Sebas CMC ahead of Zande, and Enigma and DJ Phil on the back row in 11th and 12th places. Rich will be wanting to get a good start here. Doyce Monks will be hoping he doesn't get tagged like he did on the first lap of the first race, but here we go. Lights are about to come on now. We're moments away from the start of the second race. And it's lights out and away we go. And it seems like a decent start there from Richie. A very bad start there from Doyce Monks. He's getting absolutely swamped by the entire pack here as they're coming up towards turn 1. The Mutts Nuts got a good one. He's already looking to the outside of Richie here. So you've got Bruce Law looking around the outside of Beam Basher. Those two side by side. Beam Basher manages to squeeze ahead of Bruce Law there up into 3rd as they're still side by side on the exit of 2. And we've got an incident in the background there. Doyce Monks is off onto the gravel along with Smoky Devil. Doyce Monks can't seem to keep out of the walls on the first laps of these races. He's down to P11 here as he gets caught up with Smoky Devil. DJ Phil up into P10. Richie leads ahead of the Mutts Nuts. Beam Basher in 3rd ahead of Bruce Law. Good start from Beam Basher here in this second race. You've got Zande there in 5th with Utter Rubbish, Sebas. There's Enigma, CMC, DJ Phil running just ahead of just behind CMC and Doyce Monks and Smoky at the back of the field, but Richie leads ahead of the Mutts Nuts at the moment. And oh no, the Mutts Nuts plays round. Oh no. Gets spun around there just before the S's and rejoins the track. He's still not too far off the leader. He's only 7 seconds behind the leader, Richie. But Bruce Law's had a turbulent first lap as well. He's down to 9th place here and has got some damage on the rear end of that Porsche. Richie leads by 2.7. He's already got a big gap here at the front. Utter Rubbish has got Zande looking down his inside. Zande goes for it and he manages to get it done. But look at that, Utter Rubbish there tagging the cone a little bit and he's back up the inside as Zande loses out to Beam Basher there. Got a horrible run coming up towards the penultimate corner and we see Zande and Sebas rubbing a little bit there coming in towards the final corner, but Zande holds on ahead of Sebas. CMC in the background up into P6 after this first lap. DJ Phil in 7th following him through. Enigma on the back of this as we see Bruce Law into the pits to make that mandatory stop at the end of the very first lap of the race, trying to get the undercut if he can. We're just hearing an exclamation there from somebody. I don't know if did he? I don't think he requested his pit stop. Maybe might have been one of those, but he's off and going once again. Richie leads by 2.4 ahead of Utter Rubbish at the moment. Beam Basher hounding and hassling Utter Rubbish, trying to get ahead of him as quickly as he can so he can try and chase down his championship rival Richie as Beam Basher there tagging the curb, riding all over it there, getting a bit of grass on as well, coming up through the S's. Can he get the run here on Utter Rubbish up towards the end of the back straight? I think he's a little bit too far back at the moment. Utter Rubbish defending a half-hearted line towards the inside to defend his position, and I think Beam Basher a little bit too far back to go for anything up the inside. Zande there running in 4th place, just ahead of Sebas. CMC, there's DJ Phil with Enigma looking all over him here, up towards the end of the back straight, and also Doist Monks down the inside of the Mutts Nuts there, getting the position up into 9th place. Beautifully done there. Is the Mutts Nuts going to try and come back at him into the next corner, though? They're still side by side, but in the Mutts Nuts thinks better of that one. Doist Monks gets it done up into 9th place. Richie leads by 2.8. Utter Rubbish, Beam Basher all over the back of Utter Rubbish at the moment. Coming out towards the final chicane. Oh my goodness, that was my remote falling on the floor. But at the moment, Utter Rubbish is just holding on. Beam Basher's looking up the inside in towards the penultimate corner, though, and gets it done. Manages to mug him there on the inside, just hug that curve on the inside. Utter Rubbish went a little bit wide, and just a little bit of an offline moment there for Utter Rubbish. Is all that Beam Basher needed to sneak up the inside and get himself up into P2. Now Utter Rubbish trying to come back at him here down the start-finish straight. Up towards turn 1 they come. I think Beam Basher's going to have that done on the inside and gets himself a P2. Maybe no, Utter Rubbish is still looking around the outside, but Beam Basher gets it done. He's now up into P2 well and truly, makes it stick there on Utter Rubbish. KLB Zande running in 4th place just ahead of Sebas. He's got that move done. CMC in 6th, still driving a great race here. Enigma there in 7th. Doist Monks, Smoky Devil is ahead of DJ Phil there, getting it done on the outside of turn 2 into 3. Yeah, he's going to have the inside for this corner, and Smoky Devil completes that move on DJ Phil up into 9th place. DJ Phil running just behind him in 10th. The Mutts Nuts 11th, still yet to make his pit stop, and Bruce Store, the only driver to have made his pit stop so far in this race, 48 seconds behind, but it is a very long and slow pit stop here at Indianapolis, so you lose a lot of time in that pit stop, so we will definitely see that being balanced out over the course of the rest of this race. Richie though leads. Beam Basher having got the move done on Utter Rubbish. Oh, he's in the wall a little bit. He needs to get out of that wall. He's retired. He's left the session. One of the championship contenders has just rage quit on lap 3. What's all that about? No, it's visual damage, man. It's visual damage. Utter Rubbish running in P2, just under 5 seconds off at the back of Richie at the moment. Zande there in 3rd ahead of Sebas. CMC in the background there coming out of the last corner. He's currently sat in 5th place at the moment ahead of Enigma, who's 3 seconds back. Doist Monks there is in that slipstream of him coming out onto the start finish straight with Smoky Devil there in 8th place. These guys a couple of seconds clear of DJ Phil running in 9th. You've got the Mutts Nuts coming out onto the start finish. He's in P10 at the moment. Bruce Law has got a good chance of winning this race with the pit stops here. He's currently sat in 11th spot at the moment. But Richie out the front doing the business, showing everybody how it's done tonight, and looks to be in cruise control here in this race so far. See Sarah still on the back of Zane. Oh, Zane's gone a little bit wide. He loses the car a little bit there. He's always completely lost it now. Sebas up into the podium. CMC follows him through up into 4th. Consistency has got CMC some considerable places here so far in this race. Smokey now on the back of Enigma, trying to get himself up into P5 if he can. You got Doist Monks and Zande in the background of this as Doist Monks gets a big slide there on the grass a little bit, riding over that curb. Zande's going to have this run coming up towards the final chicane. Is Zande going to be in a position to go for one here? As we can see in the foreground there, you've got Enigma there going a bit wide, and Smokey sneaks up the inside up into 5th place. Doist Monks still behind Zande, coming into the penultimate corner. Can he get the run coming through this last section of the track? If Doist Monks can get the cut back here coming out the final corner, he might have a chance of getting himself up into 7th place. He had that slipstream on the Corvette, but the Ferrari and the Corvette, I'd say pretty even down the straights. But I'd say maybe the Corvette's got a slight advantage, but the Ferrari is in that slipstream looking to the inside, and he goes very late on the brakes there. Does Enigma, does he overshoot the corner? He does, ever so slightly. Sorry, not Enigma, Doist Monks even. Doist Monks gets tagged a little bit by Zande there as he comes through turns 1 and 2. He's lost out, and he's going to be passed there up the inside by DJ Phil, and the Mutts Nuts will follow him through as well, as the Mutts Nuts has lost it himself. The Mutts Nuts out of shape there coming through turns 1 and 2, and predictably rage quits. But Richie leading the race by almost 6 seconds at the moment ahead of Utter Rubbish, and he's got a further 3 seconds back to Sebas at the moment. Smoky Devil running 13 seconds off for the lead. He's got Zande just a couple of seconds behind him at the moment. Enigma there in the background of that, all over the back of Zande. You've got DJ Phil, Doist Monks, CMC and Bruce Store. 10 drivers still left in this race here tonight. Richie very much looking like he's got this one under his control so far. As Enigma pretty close on the back of Zande at this point. Doist Monks still reasonably close to DJ Phil. In fact, Doist Monks has made that move on DJ Phil up into 7th place up the inside of the chicane. But Enigma dropped off the back of Zande a little bit. Richie still pulling out that gap to utter rubbish. Oh my goodness, almost quit the session there. Richie almost leading by 7 seconds. Seva's running in the final podium spot. 10 seconds off of the leader. Richie there in 3rd place. Zande still going just ahead of Enigma at this point. Smokey 6th, Doy Smokes 7th. There's DJ Phil still keeping to the back of Doy Smokes despite being passed by him, but in fact no, Doy Smokes has kind of just gapped him a little bit through that series of corners. CMC has parked by the side of the road, and is that his race over? We'll have to see. I think he might keep it on the track and just watch from the sidelines maybe. No, he has left the session. So we're down to 9 drivers here in this race, where Richie still leads by 7 seconds. Enigma's close on the back of Zande at this point. Looks like they're separated by about a 1/10 of a second. They've got 3 seconds back to Smokey. Doy Smoke's not too far for Smokey. This could easily become quite a multiple cars battling over this 4th place. But Enigma still can't get around Zande at this point. It's been on the back of him for pretty much this whole lap. But these two look pretty evenly matched in most places of the track. But Zande's now got just that little bit of a cushion as they're coming out onto the start finish. So it looks as though Enigma probably a little bit too far back to make anything happen as they head up towards turn 1. Oh, big moment there for Enigma. Really tagged the back of Zande a little bit. Smokey is in the background trying to bring himself into this battle with Enigma, as Zande now can breathe just a little bit of a sigh of relief. Gap at the front between Richie and Utter Rubbish has come down by quite a lot. I'm just wondering if Richie out the front might have made a mistake here. The gap down to 3.8 as he's crossing the line to start lap 8. But Enigma's still running in 5th place just ahead of Smokey Devil at the moment as they're coming through the final series of corners. Oh, DJ Phil very wide there on the grass, coming in towards that final section of the track as he's still got a couple of seconds back to Doy Smunks there running in 8th place. Bruce Law, we've got to keep an eye on him because he's got 49 seconds to the race leader Richie, but he's currently lapping faster than anybody else out on track, so Bruce Law will definitely be a factor in this race between him and Richie, as we're just hearing something might have happened there. As we see, Enigma's dropped off at the back of Zande and Smokey a little bit now. And Doy Smunks, what's happened to Doy Smunks? Doy Smunks now has just had to overtake DJ Phil again. So he must have had a big slide at some point. It's really not gone to plan. Doy Smunks had some really strong pace tonight, but first laps of both of the races have gone completely Pete Tong for him. I'm sure he'll be happy to see the back of Indy Road Course. Richie still going, 4 seconds is his lead to Utter Rubbish. Since that gap came down on the previous lap, Richie must have made a mistake. He's pulled it out once again to Utter Rubbish as they come over the line to complete lap 8. So Richie there, 23 dead. What's Utter Rubbish done? 23.6. So Richie 6/10 quicker than Utter Rubbish on that previous lap. Also in the background there, you've got you got Zande coming out of the final corner. You've got Smokey very close on the back of him here. Let's jump on board with Smokey as they come down the start finish straight. He's in that slipstream as they come up towards turn 1. A little bit too far back, I think, maybe to send one up the inside. Yeah, not quite in range at this point. Oh, Zande deep into turn 1. Puts him offline for turn 2, but Smokey not able to punish him for it. In towards turn 4 they come. This long right hand and never ending kills the left rear tyres for the time being. Smokey tucking in behind through the S's they come. Gets a lovely run though. He's going to have the inside for this left-hander coming down the end of the back straight, and I think Xande might be powerless to defend this one. Riding on board with the bonnet of Xande, you can see Smokey on the left-hand side probably coming into your picture in a moment's time. Yeah, he is, and Smokey Devil's got the move done up into 4th place. Beautifully done there from Smokey. The Corvette versus Corvette, Smokey Devil coming out on top in that little exchange. As we see Enigma and DJ Phil both in the pits and out of the pits. Got somebody lagging there all over the place. I think that's it looks like a BMW there lagging in the background. It's jumping around everywhere. I don't know what's happened there, to be fair. But something's definitely a bit amiss there. With that being said, the gap between Richie and Bruce Thor still 49 seconds. That gap is staying around the same. These two seem quite even, although last time around Richie did take a bit of time back on Bruce Thor. He did a 22.5 last time around, Bruce Thor 23.2, so Bruce has got to pick it up a little bit if he wants to keep himself in contention, but the gap at the moment probably is going to bring him out around a second or two behind Richie. Just needs to find that pace over the last part of this race. We've got with 10 laps in at the moment. This obviously is a 16 lap race, so we're well over halfway. We're nearly 60% of the way into this race, and Richie still has this lead, which he's had since the get-go pretty much. 10 seconds is gap over Utter Rubbish. Utter Rubbish has got Sebas really reeling him in though. Utter Rubbish has had a bit of a difficult lap so far on this one, and Sebas now finds himself very much in contention as he gets on the grass a little bit there, but just about manages to keep it on the grey stuff without losing too much time, without having to get out of it too much in order to keep it on the grey stuff. At the moment, as you were between those two, as we see Doyce Monks coming to the end of the pit lane now and emerging in P8 in this race. Good on him for keeping going, not giving up, not being defeatist, and not throwing in the towel. Hats off. You know, we see a lot of people just quitting as soon as they're not in contention for a podium or whatnot, and so say a big thank you to the guys who do stick with it and do keep going and don't just give up at the slightest sign of any kind of problems. But anyway, Richie leads by 12 seconds here ahead of Sebas right now. Sebas has got a bit of a gap back to Utter Rubbish, so Utter Rubbish has made a mistake. Sebas has gone ahead of him and pulled it out 5 seconds to him, so I didn't see what happened there to Utter Rubbish, but he's had a horror show. There's not a word for it. A 1:36 last time around for Utter Rubbish, so I don't know what on earth could have happened to him there. He must have maybe had a moment coming through the last sector. Can't think where, to be honest, but I mean, he's 5 seconds behind Sebas, and he's going to have to be careful because Smokey's only a couple of seconds behind him. So Utter Rubbish, after being on for a pretty much dead cert second place, has now got to work hard to keep onto this podium as Richie is coming in. Race leader into the pits, and he's, oh no, is he no way. Oh no, he's got a pit exit penalty, pit entry penalty. That is going to give Bruce Law the impetus here. Richie gets the cheap pit stop, so that will have helped his cause a little bit. But where is Bruce? Well, Bruce is nowhere to be seen at the moment, and maybe Richie's going to be handed a bit of a lifeline here. Where is Bruce? Is just coming through the middle sector. What? Oh, it's a long pit lane, to be fair. Well, I don't know how this one's going to pan out, because Bruce is, I think Richie's got it comfortably, you know, even despite that 10-second penalty. I think that Richie's got it easily. I don't know, we'll see. Well, Richie's just on the pit exit now. Where is Bruce Law? Bruce Law's coming out of the final corner, so Richie's just through turn 2 as we speak. Bruce is just coming up towards the start finish. Like, yeah, I think Richie's done it easily. He has got daylight between himself and Bruce Law, so Bruce Law, I think he must have made a mistake on the previous lap before this one, because he's now absolutely miles behind Richie, and so Richie comes out with a clear advantage of 17 seconds over Bruce Law. He's obviously got that 10-second penalty for speeding in the pits, but that shouldn't lose him the race win as it stands. I think that Richie will have this done over Bruce. Xande obviously still in the lead at the moment, but he's got to come in and he's got to put fuel in as well. He's got 3 litres in the car. Hopefully he's noticed that. He's only got 3 litres in the car. That will not get him to the end. He needs to come in and he needs to put fuel in the car this time around. And yes, he is coming in. He's coming in this time. I don't think he knew where the pit lane was there. And to be fair, I made the exact same mistake in a GT3 league, in another league. I did the exact same thing. I basically had no idea and entered the pits in a very similar fashion to how Zande just did. But he's in. That's the most important thing. He gets it in safe and sound. He does pick up a... Oh, he's quit. He's quit. He's left. Right, so we're down to 8, but Richie leads. We've got 4 laps left in this race. Sebas still going in that final podium spot, 21 seconds behind Richie. 27 back to Smoky Devil, running in 4th place. Enigma there in 5th. Utter rubbish just behind Enigma at this point. You've got DJ Phil and Noise Funk's battling it out over P7 as Noise Funk's down the inside in towards the third to last corner. But DJ Phil beautifully exits the cut back there on the exit of the corner and sneaks himself back up into P7 as we see these guys having a great little scrap here. So coming out of the final corner now. Brilliant stuff from these boys as Noise Funks is going to have to... Oh, he tucks the ball a little bit. Oh dear. But just flashed the lights there from Dois Monks as he's letting DJ Phil know that he's there, and letting him know that he's on a mission here in the last 4 laps. He's down the inside, very late on the brakes there into turn 1, goes a little bit deep, but I think he's going to get it stopped. Yes, he does. Dois Monks there, back up into P7. Brilliant stuff there from the man in the Ferrari, getting them moved on the BMW. Stay with them and see if anything happens coming through these next few corners. I think Dois Monks is going to drive away now. I think he's got that one sorted. Enigma running in 5th as he's trying to fend off Utter Rubbish. Utter Rubbish had a turbulent race. He's obviously been in already. I don't think Enigma's been in to the pits. So I believe... Oh no, wait. No, he has. He has been in. Yeah, he has been in. I do apologise there, mate. He has been in. So he's just on the back of Utter Rubbish at the moment. These guys coming in towards the final couple of corners. Richie though has that lead. He's got 17 seconds over Bruce Law. Very much got this one under control. Obviously, even with a 10-second penalty, Bruce will be ruining what could have been I mean, whatever mistake it was, and I didn't catch it happening, but obviously he'll see that 10-second penalty now for Richie and see this as an opportunity missed. But nonetheless, a good performance from Bruce. Oh no, Richie! No, not Sebas. No, it's not Richie, it's Sebas. Oh my god, I thought it was Richie for a second. Oh my god, that was Sebas there. Sebas has spun it. Oh my god. I thought we were going to have a race on in the final couple of laps there. Sebas loses the position to Smokey. So unfortunate there for Sebas as he was in that podium spot. Smokey now into 3rd place. So that's great news there for Smoky Devil, but not so much for Sebas. So Smokey there up into 3rd place. Sebas down to 4th. Utter Rubbish has gapped Enigma a little bit on this lap so far. He's got 2 seconds back to him now. There's Dois Monks there, still running in 7th place. DJ Phil in the background there in 8th. Richie's still going at the moment. He's still leading this race. He's got 18 seconds of a gap over Bruce Law. So we see Richie here coming out of the that's Dois Monks there coming out of the final corner. Richie is on his penultimate lap of the race. He's coming into the final sector. He'll be shortly starting his last lap of the race. He's got 17 seconds back to Bruce Law running in P2. Obviously Richie does have that 10-second penalty, but that will not lose him the race as it stands at the moment. As Utter Rubbish has lost out here to Enigma, and Enigma's back up into P5. So this battle seems to be going down to the wire here. Utter Rubbish has had the pace over Enigma, I think it's safe to say, but he's made more mistakes and it's been more inconsistent. Enigma's just kept it clean, been tidy, and has picked him off every time that Utter Rubbish has made those mistakes. But Utter Rubbish is really hounding him here. Is he going to look up the inside into the S's? No. There's 2 S's really. There's the S's just before the back straight and there's the ones just afterwards. But we see now Enigma there going a little bit wide, and Utter Rubbish is going to try and get the run here, but I think he had to get out of it a little bit there to avoid contact. So in the end didn't get the run that he wanted in towards the final part of this lap. Can Enigma hold on here for this final lap, or is Utter Rubbish going to throw caution to the wind and throw the kitchen sink at him? We're going to cut to the race leader though, Richie's. He's got, well actually no, we can long it out for about 20 seconds I think. As we see Enigma here defending from Utter Rubbish to the inside down the start finish straight. Enigma started to gap Utter Rubbish a little bit over these last few corners. Doyce Monk's in the background looking to try and bring himself into this battle if he can. As we see there, Enigma weaving all over the place, but Richie's coming in towards the final couple of corners, and it's going to be another win here for Richie in this GTE League here at Motive. He's going to extend his points gap with the retirement of Beambasher in this race. I don't know if Beambasher's going to be here next week. After that, I think maybe his championship might have been knocked on the head, but Richie up towards the line. A flash of the lights there from him. He takes the victory here at Indianapolis. What a great job there from Richie as he comes over the line to take the checkered flag. Bruce Dorr was flying around here tonight, but couldn't quite do it with the, obviously the penalty for Richie brought him into play, but it just didn't go to plan at all. I think Bruce Dorr went for the early pit stop and seemed to have the pace, but didn't quite work out. Comes over the line to take a P2 nonetheless. Smoky Devil coming out of the last corner. It's going to be a podium spot here for Smoky Devil, which is very solid there indeed for him. As he comes across there, flash the lights from him. Great podium finish there from Smokey. I'm sure he'll be chuffed to bits with that one. Sebas coming over and bins it over the line to take a P4, but nonetheless a P4 for him. Utter Rubbish is going to finish ahead of Enigma, and Enigma had a nightmare of a last lap. He's lost out to Doyce Monks. Utter Rubbish comes over to take a P5 here in this race. Doyce Monks finishes in 6th. Last corner there for Enigma as he flashes the lights, comes over in 7th place. Good spirited nonetheless. DJ Phil though coming out the last corner. Oh, he's lost it. DJ Phil pointed the wrong way. Oh, he gets it back on the track. He's going to get the power down out of this last corner. He's going to limp home in 8th place, but the time is just going to count. He's going to get counted out just here as he comes up towards the line. That's that then for the race. That is that then for round 7 of the GTEs. Beambasher retiring from the race very early on and will score no points and will lose out massively in his championship quest. Richie taking the win ahead of Bruce Law, the reserve for tonight. Smoky Devil completed the podium. Great job from him. Sebas 4th, After Rubbish 5th, with Doyce Monks, Enigma, DJ Phil, CMC, and the guy at the bottom. He wasn't racing, he was just commentating. But big thank you to everybody who joined us. Hopefully the drivers will enjoy watching this back afterwards. I don't think there's going to be too many other people watching it other than the guys who were racing tonight, but I do hope all of you in this race enjoyed watching this back, and peace.